Commander Alan Wright stared at the main screen on the bridge of the U.S. Valiant. The coffee in his mug had gone cold hours ago, forgotten as the situation unfolded. 5 enormous objects were moving toward the solar system at speeds that shouldn't be possible. They had appeared suddenly at the edge of Neptune's orbit, triggering every alarm in Earth's defense network. "How long until they reach Earth orbit?" Alan asked, his voice steady despite the tension building in his chest. Lieutenant Olivia Martinez looked up from her console. "At their current speed, sir. Less than 6 hours." Alan nodded and set down his cold coffee. After 20 years in the United Earth Defense Fleet, he had always believed this day would come. Humanity was not alone in the universe. Now he had proof on his screen, and it was heading straight for them. "Send the first contact protocols to all stations," he ordered, "and get me Admiral Jackson." The image of Admiral Peter Jackson appeared on the screen within minutes. His gray hair and lined face showed the weight of command. "Right, tell me what we're dealing with," the Admiral said without greeting. 5 vessels, sir, each with different design signatures. They're slowing as they approach Mars. Based on their size and energy readings, they appear to be warships. The Admiral's expression darkened. "Hostile actions?" "None yet, sir. They've begun broadcasting on multiple frequencies. Our linguists are working on it, but the message seems to be a request for diplomatic contact. After all this time searching the stars, they find us." The Admiral sighed. "I'm calling an emergency meeting with the United Earth Council. The President wants our best people on this. That includes you, right?" Alan felt his heart rate spike. "Sir, you're the most qualified officer we have. You wrote half our first contact protocols. I want you leading the military escort for our diplomatic team." Within the hour, Alan found himself on a shuttle heading to Earth Central Command in Geneva. The news of the alien arrival had spread worldwide. Screens everywhere showed the same images: 5 massive ships, each unique in design, now in orbit around Mars. At the command center, chaos reigned. Officials from every nation shouted over each other as scientists and military personnel tried to make sense of the data pouring in. Alan spotted Secretary General Diane Foster trying to restore order. "Ladies and gentlemen," she called out, her voice finally cutting through the noise, "we have received translated communications from the visitors. They represent 5 different civilizations, and they are requesting a diplomatic meeting." The room fell silent. "They've agreed to meet at our new lunar station," she continued. "They claim to come in peace, but given the military nature of their vessels, we must proceed with caution." Alan listened as the team was assembled. The best diplomats, scientists, and military advisors Earth had to offer. When his name was called as head of security, he stepped forward. "Commander Wright, you'll be responsible for the safety of our delegation," the Secretary General told him. "These aliens may claim peaceful intentions, but those are warships. Be prepared for anything." 3 days later, Alan stood in the observation deck of Lunar Station Alpha, watching as 5 smaller craft departed from the massive ships and approached the station. Each alien vessel was different. One appeared to be made of some crystalline material that sparkled in the sunlight. Another seemed to shift and change, as if not entirely solid. The third was black as space itself, nearly invisible except for faint blue lights along its hull. The fourth gleamed like polished metal, while the 5th appeared organic, almost alive. "This changes everything," said Dr. Susan Lee, the lead scientist of the human delegation, as she joined Alan at the window. "For better or worse, humanity isn't alone anymore." Alan nodded, his hand resting instinctively on his sidearm. "Let's hope it's for the better," he said, watching as the alien craft docked with the station. "But I wouldn't bet on it." The station's docking bay doors opened. Humanity's first meeting with alien life was about to begin, and Commander Alan Wright would be there to witness it. The air in the lunar station's meeting chamber felt thick with tension. Commander Alan Wright stood at attention behind the human delegation as 5 alien beings entered from the opposite door. Each alien looked completely different from the others, making it clear they represented separate species. The first alien, Zaxtor of the Vexari Empire, towered over everyone. His scaled skin glowed with a faint purple light, and 4 arms moved with precise, calculated gestures. The second, Gillant from the Meridian Collective, floated slightly above the ground. Its body appeared almost transparent, with swirling colors moving beneath what looked like glass skin. Supreme General Kelinar of the Drazkari Dominion stomped forward on thick, powerful legs. His face was covered in bony plates, and small eyes darted around the room, assessing threats. High Admiral Sef of the Luminary Federation moved with grace, her slender body covered in fine silver fur that shimmered under the lights. Lastly came War Prince Torlax of the Cronus Hegemony, whose skin seemed to shift between solid and liquid states as he moved. Secretary General Foster stepped forward and bowed slightly. On behalf of humanity and Earth, we welcome you to our solar system. The aliens exchanged glances before War Prince Torlax spoke, his words translated through devices each party wore. We have watched your civilization for some time. Your recent achievements in faster-than-light communication have brought you to our attention. We represent the 5 most powerful civilizations in this sector of the galaxy, added High Admiral Sef. Each of us rules thousands of worlds. We have come to evaluate Earth's potential as a trading partner. Elan noticed how the aliens looked down at the humans, both literally due to their height and figuratively through their condescending tones. They spoke to Earth's leaders like adults addressing small children. The meeting continued with discussions about resources, territory, and technology exchange. The human diplomats did their best to represent Earth's interests, but it was clear the aliens saw them as primitives. Then the conversation shifted when Supreme General Kelnar mentioned defense capabilities. Of course, any new species joining the galactic community must understand the power dynamics, Kelnar rumbled. Perhaps a demonstration of our military strength would help clarify Earth's position. Before the human delegation could respond, large holograms appeared in the center of the room. Each alien activated their own display, showing massive warships that dwarfed anything humans had ever built. The pride of Vexor, Zaxtor said proudly, displaying a ship that looked like a floating mountain of metal. It carries enough firepower to crack open a small moon. Gillant's hologram showed a strange, spiral-shaped vessel. The endless void can create gravity wells strong enough to trap enemy fleets for days while we pick them apart. Each alien tried to outdo the others. Kelnar's battleship could absorb incredible damage. Sef's vessels moved faster than anything humans had achieved. Sorlax's flagship combined aspects of all the others into something terrifying. Alan exchanged a worried glance with Lieutenant Martinez, who had joined him for security. The alien vessels made Earth's biggest ships look like toys. And what of Earth's defenses? War Prince Sorlax finally asked, deactivating his hologram. Surely you have something to show us. Admiral Jackson, who led the military portion of Earth's delegation, simply smiled. We prefer to keep our capabilities private for now. The aliens laughed, a strange collection of sounds from their different vocal structures. Privacy suggests you have something worth hiding, said Zaxtor. We have scanned your system. Your ships are primitive compared to ours. Perhaps we should settle this question definitively, suggested War Prince Sorlax, leaning forward with what appeared to be a smile. A friendly competition between our civilizations. Each will showcase their most advanced battleship in a series of non-harmful exercises. The winner gains favorable trade status in this system. The human delegation asked for time to discuss the proposal privately. As they huddled together, Admiral Jackson spoke quietly. They're backing us into a corner. If we refuse, they'll see us as weak. But sir, Alan objected, they're clearly more advanced. We can't win. Admiral Jackson's eyes narrowed. Can't we, Commander? Get me a secure line to Earth. It's time to reveal Project Defiant. As the meeting resumed, Alan felt a mix of fear and curiosity. What was Project Defiant? And could it possibly match the alien warships they had just seen? The room erupted in angry voices as soon as the door closed behind the alien delegation. Earth's representatives argued among themselves about the challenge that had been proposed. "We cannot accept this contest," said Dr. Susan Lee, shaking her head. "Their ships are massive. Did you see the weapons they have? We would be humiliated." Admiral Jackson remained calm amid the chaos. "The President has already approved my recommendation. We will accept the challenge." Commander Alan Wright couldn't believe what he was hearing. "Sir, with all due respect, you saw those battleships. They're centuries ahead of our technology." "Are they?" Admiral Jackson asked with a slight smile. "Or do they simply build on a scale we haven't needed to match?" Secretary General Foster raised her hands to quiet the room. "Admiral Jackson has been authorized to reveal classified information. What he's about to tell you doesn't leave this room." The Admiral activated a small device on his wrist. A hologram appeared in the center of their circle, showing a sleek ship unlike any current Earth vessel. It was smaller than the alien battleships, perhaps a quarter of their size, with smooth lines and a dark blue hull that seemed to absorb light. "This is the U.S. Defiant," Admiral Jackson said proudly. "For 20 years, the best minds on Earth have been working on this ship in secret. It incorporates technology that even most of our own military doesn't know exists." Alan leaned forward, studying the hologram with newfound interest. "What makes you think it can compete with those alien warships?" "Because the Defiant doesn't follow conventional thinking," the Admiral explained. "The aliens build massive ships because they can. They've had thousands of years to perfect their approach to space warfare, but humanity took a different path." Chief Engineer Hank Garcia stepped forward. He had been quiet until now, but his eyes shone with pride as he looked at the hologram. "Instead of building bigger, we built smarter. The Defiant uses quantum entanglement technology that lets it predict enemy movements before they happen. Its defensive systems adapt to any attack almost instantly." Dr. Lee still looked skeptical. "Even with advanced systems, the raw power difference is enormous." "Power isn't everything," Garcia replied. "The Defiant can do things those bulky alien ships can't even imagine. They rely on brute force. We rely on innovation." Secretary General Foster checked the time. "The aliens are waiting for our answer. We need to decide now." Admiral Jackson turned to Alan. "Commander Wright, you're being reassigned. As of this moment, you're the new captain of the U.S. Defiant." Alan felt the blood drain from his face. "Sir, you've shown exceptional tactical thinking throughout your career. The Defiant needs someone who can think outside conventional military doctrine. That's you." The weight of this responsibility settled on Alan's shoulders. Earth's future might depend on how well he handled this challenge. "When do I meet my crew?" "Immediately after this meeting," Admiral Jackson said. "The ship is ready. Your executive officer is already waiting for you. I believe you know Lieutenant Martinez." Alan nodded, surprised but pleased. Olivia Martinez was one of the best officers he had worked with. If anyone could help him navigate this impossible situation, it was her. Secretary General Foster opened the door and invited the alien representatives back inside. The tension in the room was thick as she addressed them. "After consideration, Earth accepts your challenge. We will participate in your competition of battleships." War Prince Sorlax's face shifted into what might have been a smile. "Excellent. The trials will begin in 3 of your Earth days. Each civilization will demonstrate their ship's capabilities in the space near your gas giant Jupiter. We look forward to seeing what primitive technology you bring to this contest." The other aliens made sounds that the translation devices interpreted as laughter. Admiral Jackson stood tall, unaffected by their mockery. "We'll be there, and I suspect you'll find Earth full of surprises." As the meeting concluded, Alan's mind raced with questions. In 3 days, he would command the most advanced ship humanity had ever built, facing aliens who had been crossing the stars for thousands of years. The odds seemed impossible, but something in Admiral Jackson's confidence gave him hope. 3 days to prepare. 3 days to learn everything about a ship shrouded in secrecy. 3 days until the fate of Earth might rest in his hands. Captain Alan Wright stood on the bridge of the U.S. Defiant for the first time, taking in every detail. Unlike the practical, utilitarian design of other Earth ships, the Defiant's bridge was sleek and modern. Curved screens wrapped around the walls, giving a 360-degree view of space. The command chair sat in the center, surrounded by stations for navigation, weapons, engineering, and communications. "What do you think, Captain?" Lieutenant Olivia Martinez asked as she approached. Her uniform, like his, bore the new insignia of the Defiant, a shield with stars and lightning. "It's not what I expected," Alan admitted. "It feels almost alien." "That's because it is, in a way," said a voice behind him. Chief Engineer Hank Garcia entered the bridge carrying a tablet. "We reverse-engineered some technologies from crashed alien scout ships over the past 50 years. But we took those concepts in directions the aliens never considered." Alan ran his hand along the console. "Tell me what makes this ship special, Chief. What chance do we really have against those alien battleships?" Garcia's face lit up with excitement. "Follow me to engineering. It's easier to show you." The 3 officers took a lift down to the heart of the ship. Engineering was a massive chamber dominated by a glowing blue core. Unlike the rumbling engines of traditional spacecraft, this power source hummed quietly. "This is a quantum fold reactor," Garcia explained. "It doesn't just generate power, it bends the rules of physics. While alien ships use brute force to push through space, we fold space around us." "In simple terms?" Alan asked. "Their ships are like bulldozers. Ours is like a ballet dancer. They're strong, but we're fast and elegant." Martinez pointed to 6 large rings surrounding the core. "And these? Adaptive shield generators," Garcia said proudly. "Conventional shields try to block everything with the same energy field. Ours analyze incoming attacks and generate the exact counter-frequency in milliseconds." Alan nodded slowly. "What about weapons?" "That's where it gets really interesting," Garcia said with a grin. He led them to another section where several engineers worked on what looked like silver tubes. Quantum phase disruptors. They don't just damage a target. They temporarily shift it slightly out of phase with normal space. A direct hit could disable even those massive alien ships by throwing their systems into chaos. For the next 2 days, Alan and his crew of 150, all hand-picked specialists, trained intensively on the Defiant systems. The ship responded unlike anything Alan had ever commanded, more like it could read his thoughts than follow his orders. By the evening before the competition, the crew had become surprisingly confident despite the challenge ahead. They gathered in the mess hall for dinner, where Alan decided to address them. "Tomorrow, we face 5 alien civilizations who think they know what humanity is capable of," he said, standing at the front of the room. "They expect us to fail. They expect to laugh at our primitive technology." The room was silent as every crew member watched their captain. "But they don't understand what makes humans different," Alan continued. "While they've had thousands of years of peace to slowly improve their ships, we've had war and struggle that forced us to innovate quickly. While they built bigger, we built smarter. While they followed the same technological path for millennia, we found our own way." Lieutenant Martinez raised her glass of water. "To the Defiant," she called out. "To the Defiant." The crew echoed. Later that night, Alan couldn't sleep. He made his way to the observation deck, where he found Dr. Lisa Bennett, the ship's science officer, also staring out at the stars. "Nervous about tomorrow?" she asked. "Terrified," Alan admitted, "but also curious. We've been isolated in our solar system for so long. Now suddenly there are 5 alien civilizations watching us, judging us, and somehow I'm the one who has to prove humanity's worth." Dr. Bennett smiled. You're not alone, Captain. Every person on this ship was chosen because they're the best at what they do. And this ship, she placed her hand on the window. This ship is humanity's greatest achievement. Alan nodded, finding comfort in her words. Then let's show these aliens what humanity can do. As he looked out at Jupiter's swirling clouds where tomorrow's competition would take place, Alan felt the weight of responsibility on his shoulders. But for the first time since accepting this mission, he also felt something else. The U.S. Defiant arrived at the testing grounds near Jupiter right on time. 5 enormous alien battleships were already there, arranged in a wide circle. Each ship was at least 10 times larger than the Defiant. A 6th vessel, smaller than the battleships but still much bigger than any human ship, sat at the center. This was the judge's ship, where representatives from each alien civilization would observe the competition. All stop, Captain Alan Wright ordered. Let's take a moment to observe our competition. The bridge crew studied the alien vessels on their screens. The Vexari ship looked like a floating fortress, covered in weapon ports. The Meridian vessel seemed to shift and shimmer, making it hard to focus on. The Drazkari battleship was bulky and heavily armored. The Luminary ship was sleek and elegant. The Cronus vessel combined elements of all the others into something truly intimidating. "They're hailing us," Lieutenant Martinez reported from her communication station. "On screen," Alan replied, straightening his uniform. War Prince Sorlax's face appeared. His liquid-like features seemed to be arranged in what humans might interpret as a smirk. "Earth vessel, we were beginning to think you had wisely decided not to show up." Alan kept his expression neutral. "We wouldn't miss this opportunity to exchange knowledge with our new galactic neighbors." "Knowledge?" Sorlax laughed. "Yes, I suppose you will learn much about how outmatched your civilization truly is." Before Alan could respond, Admiral Seth of the Luminary appeared on screen beside Sorlax. "The competition will proceed as follows. Each ship will demonstrate its capabilities in 3 areas: speed, defensive systems, and weapons. Observers from all civilizations will judge the demonstrations." The first to demonstrate was the Vexari battleship. It moved into position and powered up its weapons. At a signal from the judge's ship, it fired on a small asteroid. The beam of energy that shot from its main cannon completely vaporized the asteroid, leaving nothing but dust. "Impressive," Dr. Bennett commented quietly. "That asteroid was nearly a kilometer across." Next came the Meridian Collective. Their ship created a strange field that seemed to bend light around it. When test drones fired at the ship, the energy weapons curved around the field, missing completely. The Drazkari demonstration was equally intimidating. Their heavily armored ship absorbed direct hits from weapons fired by the judge ship without showing any damage. The crew counted 20 direct hits before the demonstration ended. The Luminary ship demonstrated incredible speed, accelerating from a standstill to half the speed of light in seconds, then stopping just as quickly. It moved with grace and precision that made the Defiant's crew watch in silent awe. Finally, the Cronus vessel performed a combination of all these feats, absorbing attacks, firing devastating weapons, and moving with surprising agility for its massive size. After each demonstration, the aliens sent smug messages to the Defiant, asking if humans wanted to withdraw from the competition to avoid embarrassment. "Your turn, Earth vessel," War Prince Sorlax announced when the 5 alien ships had finished. "Please try not to damage your only advanced ship in your attempt to impress us." Alan turned to his crew. "Well, they've shown their cards. Time to show ours." He stood up from the command chair. "Lieutenant Martinez, you have the bridge for a moment." He walked to the rear of the bridge where Chief Engineer Garcia waited. "Are all systems ready?" Alan asked quietly. "Everything's green, Captain," Garcia replied. "But I've been watching their demonstrations. They're holding back. Those ships can do much more than what they showed us." Alan nodded. "I suspected as much. So will we. For the first demonstration, let's show them about 70% of what we can do." Keep something in reserve. Understood, Garcia said with a small smile. Just enough to surprise them without revealing all our tricks. Alain returned to his chair and opened a channel to the judge's ship. This is Captain Wright of the U.S. Defiant. We are ready to begin our demonstration. The alien representatives watched with barely concealed amusement as the small human vessel moved into position. None of them noticed the subtle changes in the Defiant's hull as its adaptive systems prepared for action. Begin when ready, human ship, Admiral Seth instructed. Try not to be too disappointed when you fail. Helm, take us to starting position, Captain Alan Wright ordered. Weapons and defensive systems on standby. The U.S. Defiant moved gracefully into position. From the judge's ship, the 5 alien representatives watched with amusement. The human vessel looked tiny compared to their massive battleships. First test, speed and maneuverability, announced Admiral Seth's voice over the communication channel. You will navigate through the marked course around Jupiter's moons. Begin when ready. Alain nodded to Lieutenant Ryan Baker at the helm. Show them what we can do, Lieutenant. Quantum full drive at 70%. Baker's fingers danced across his console. Full drive engaging in 3, 2, 1. The Defiant suddenly vanished from its position. On the judge's ship, alarms blared as their sensors lost track of the human vessel. Where did they go? Demanded War Prince Forlax, rising from his seat. Before anyone could answer, the Defiant reappeared at the first checkpoint near Io, one of Jupiter's moons. Then it vanished again, appearing seconds later at the checkpoint near Europa. The pattern continued, with the ship jumping from point to point almost instantly. Impossible, muttered Supreme General Kelnar. They're not using conventional propulsion. Within 45 seconds, the Defiant had completed the entire course that had taken the alien ships several minutes to navigate. The human vessel returned to its starting position and powered down its engines. Course completed, Alan reported calmly. Ready for the next test. There was a long pause before Admiral Seth responded. Proceed to defensive systems test. The judge's ship activated automated drones that began firing energy weapons at the Defiant. Instead of creating a bubble shield like the alien ships, the Defiant's hull seemed to analyze each incoming attack. Where energy beams struck, the hull briefly glowed with a counteracting energy pattern that neutralized the attacks. Adaptive shield technology, Dr. Bennett explained to Alan. It's creating a unique defense for each type of attack. After 2 minutes of continuous fire, not a single hit had penetrated the Defiant's defenses. The bridge crew remained calm, but small smiles were beginning to appear on their faces. Final test, weapons systems, came the terse instruction from the judges. Alan turned to Weapons Officer Lieutenant Sam Powell. Target the designated asteroid field. Quantum phase disruptors at 65% power. Powell nodded. Target acquired. Disruptors charged and ready. Fire. Unlike the raw energy beams of the alien ships, the Defiant's weapons fired what looked like pulses of blue-white light. When they struck the asteroids, something strange happened. Instead of exploding, the asteroids seemed to shimmer and partially fade from existence. Some broke apart without explosion. Others developed strange patterns on their surfaces before crumbling. On the judge's ship, the aliens leaned forward in shock. What kind of weapon is that? Jillinth of the Meridian Collective asked, their translucent body pulsing with agitation. It's disrupting the quantum cohesion of the targets, one of their scientists reported. The asteroids are partially phasing out of normal spacetime. The demonstration continued for another minute, with the Defiant taking out asteroid after asteroid with surgical precision. When the test ended, an uncomfortable silence filled the communication channel. Finally, Captain Allen opened a channel to the judge's ship. Demonstration complete. Do you require anything further? War Prince Sorlax's face appeared on screen. His usual smugness was gone, replaced by a mix of confusion and concern. How is this possible? Your species has barely left its solar system. These technologies should be beyond your capabilities. Alan allowed himself a small smile. Perhaps you underestimated humanity, War Prince. This was only a basic demonstration. Zax Tor of the Vexari Empire growled. A real battle would be different. Would it? Alan asked. Because we were holding back. This was only a fraction of the Defiant's true capabilities. The alien representatives exchanged glances. Their confidence was clearly shaken. The judges will deliberate. Admiral Seth announced curtly. All vessels stand by. As the communication ended, the bridge crew of the Defiant broke into wide grins and quiet cheers. Lieutenant Martinez approached Alan's chair. They didn't expect that, she said. Alan nodded, watching the alien ships on the main screen. And they're worried now. Look how they're positioning their vessels. They've moved into defensive formation. Do you think they'll try something? Martins asked. I don't know, Alan replied honestly. But I think we just changed their view of humanity forever. 3 hours after the demonstrations ended, Captain Alan Wright received a message from the judge's ship. All 6 captains were invited to meet face-to-face to discuss the results. With some caution, Alan agreed. I want you with me, he told Lieutenant Martinez as they prepared to board a shuttle. And Chief Garcia too. I think we're about to face a lot of questions. The judge's ship was lavishly decorated inside with materials from all 5 alien worlds. When the human delegation entered the meeting chamber, they found the 5 alien commanders already waiting. The atmosphere was tense. War Prince Thorlax spoke first. Captain Wright, we have reviewed your ship's performance. It has exceeded our expectations. Alan nodded politely but said nothing. What we wish to know, continued Admiral Seth, is how a species so young has developed technology that rivals or even surpasses our own in certain areas. The aliens leaned forward, their expressions ranging from curiosity to suspicion. Alan looked at each alien captain before responding. The answer is simple. Humanity took a different path than your civilizations. Explain, demanded Supreme General Kelmar. From what we've learned about your histories, Alan said, your 5 civilizations have shared technology and followed similar development paths. For thousands of years, you compete with each other, but you all play by the same rules. Chief Garcia stepped forward. You all focused on making your ships bigger, your weapons more powerful. But size isn't everything. Earth had limited resources and space. We couldn't build massive ships like yours, so we had to think differently. Also, Martins added, humanity's history is filled with conflict. We've had to innovate quickly to survive. While your civilizations enjoyed millennia of relative stability, we pushed ourselves to adapt rapidly. The alien captains exchanged glances, processing this information. Your quantum fold drive, Gillinth of the Meridian Collective said. Our scientists calculated should be impossible for a species at your development stage. Garcia smiled. We don't always follow the expected stages of development. Sometimes we skip ahead or take unexpected turns. 50 years ago, we recovered fragments of an unknown alien vessel that crashed on our planet. We didn't just copy the technology. We reimagined it. Zax Tor of the Vexari Empire narrowed his eyes. And your weapons? Those phase disruptors don't match any known technology in the galaxy. Pure human innovation, Alan responded. When conventional weapons couldn't provide the power we needed, we looked at the problem differently. Instead of trying to destroy matter, we found ways to temporarily alter its quantum state. The alien captains fell silent, considering the implications of what they were hearing. After a long pause, War Prince Thorlax spoke again. The judges have reached a decision. The U.S. Defiant has demonstrated capabilities that, while different from our own, are undeniably impressive. Earth will be granted favorable trading status. Alan nodded in acknowledgement. We appreciate that. But I think we all know this meeting is about more than a simple competition now. Admiral Seth's silver fur rippled in what might have been agreement. Indeed, the galaxy has underestimated humanity. We must reevaluate our approach to your species. Which brings us to an important question. Supreme General Kelnar rumbled. What are humanity's intentions? With technology like yours, you could pose a significant threat. Ellen looked directly at each alien captain. Humanity has no interest in conquest or aggression. We developed these technologies for defense, not domination. We seek to explore the galaxy and establish peaceful relations with other civilizations. Yet you created weapons capable of phasing objects out of reality, pointed out Gilith. Because we live in a dangerous universe, Martins replied. Today's demonstration proves that 5 massive warships arrived in our system without warning. Wouldn't you have prepared defenses in our position? The aliens couldn't argue with that logic. What humanity wants, Alan continued, is to be treated as equals, not as primitives to be patronized or exploited. We have much to learn from your civilizations, but we also have much to offer. War Prince Torlax studied the humans carefully. Perhaps we misjudged your species. This requires further discussion among our leadership. As the meeting concluded, Alan knew that humanity's position in the galaxy had just fundamentally changed. The 5 alien civilizations had arrived expecting to find a primitive species they could easily dominate. Instead, they discovered a young but innovative race with unexpected capabilities and potential. The real negotiations were just beginning. 1 month after the competition near Jupiter, Captain Alan Wright stood in a grand hall on Earth. The United Nations headquarters in New York had been specially modified to welcome the first official diplomatic delegation from the 5 alien civilizations. Leaders from around the world gathered to witness this historic moment. Alan, now wearing a new uniform with additional medals, watched as the alien representatives entered the hall. Their demeanor had changed dramatically since their first meeting. Gone was the condescension and mockery. Instead, they showed careful respect as they approached the human leaders. They looked nervous, Lieutenant Martinez whispered beside him. She too had been promoted after the events at Jupiter. They should be, Alan replied quietly. Their entire understanding of the galaxy just changed. Secretary General Foster welcomed the aliens and began the formal proceedings. What followed was the signing of the Terran Defense Pact, an agreement that positioned Earth as an equal partner among the galactic civilizations. The document acknowledged humanity's unique technological contributions and established protocols for peaceful cooperation. After the ceremony, Alan found himself approached by War Prince Sorlax. Captain Wright, the alien said, his liquid-like features arranged in what Alan had learned was a respectful expression. I must admit, we gravely misunderstood humanity. A common mistake, I'm told, Alan replied with a small smile. Judging a species by its age rather than its capabilities. My civilization spent thousands of years perfecting our battleships, Sorlax said. Yet in decades, your people created something that made us question our entire approach to space warfare. Before Alan could respond, Admiral Seth joined them. The Luminary Federation has already begun researching quantum fold technology, she admitted. Though we suspect it will take us centuries to match your implementation. And what will humanity do now? Asked Zaxtor, who had been listening nearby. With your technology, you could expand rapidly. Alan shook his head. That's not our way. We've seen from history that rapid expansion leads to conflict. We prefer careful, sustainable growth. Chief Engineer Garcia, who had been speaking with some alien scientists, joined the conversation. We're more interested in collaborative research. Your civilizations have knowledge from thousands of years of exploration. We have fresh perspectives and innovative approaches. Together, we could accomplish amazing things. The aliens seemed surprised but pleased by this response. They had expected demands or threats from a species that had just proven its military capabilities. Instead, they found offers of cooperation. Later that evening, a reception was held at the top of the newly completed Earth Spire, the tallest building ever constructed. Through its transparent walls, guests could see the distant lights of the alien ships in orbit. Alan found himself standing by a window, looking up at the stars. Quite a view, isn't it? Dr. Lisa Bennett said as she joined him. It is, Alan agreed. I keep thinking about how much has changed in just a month. We went from being alone in the universe to being part of a galactic community. A community that now respects us, Lisa added. I've been speaking with their scientists. They're fascinated by our approach to technology. Some of them have already proposed joint research projects. Ellen nodded. And what about the Defiant? Will we build more ships like her? The United Earth Council approved funding for 5 more Defiant-class vessels yesterday, said Admiral Jackson, who had overheard as he approached. But they won't just be warships. They'll be our ambassadors to the stars, showcasing humanity's innovation while ensuring our security. As the reception continued, representatives from all 5 alien civilizations approached Alan throughout the evening. Each wanted to establish special relations with Earth. Some offered trading rights, others proposed cultural exchanges, and a few even subtly suggested military alliances. They're competing for our favor now, Martinez observed with amusement. That's quite a change from their first visit. Elen watched as human and alien diplomats mingled, creating the foundation for a new era of interstellar relations. In just 1 month, humanity had gone from an isolated civilization to a respected force in the galaxy. You know what the best part is, Alan said, looking out at the stars once more. This is just the beginning. We have an entire galaxy to explore now. As Earth's first interstellar embassy prepared to open and the first human delegations ready to visit alien worlds, Captain Alan Wright couldn't help but smile at the thought of what lay ahead. The 5 aliens had bragged about their battleships until they witnessed humanity's.